Everyone in the galaxy thinks we humans are strange, foolish. But truth be told, they think our biggest weakness is our heart. Meet Sergeant Miller. Miller was no high-born prince or polished diplomat of the Central Systems. Burned skin mapped his jawline from a plasma breach on the outer rim. Dark, hollow craters had under his eyes from holding the front line for 4 consecutive weeks without reinforcement. His hands always, well, they shook a little whenever he unbuckled his empty rifle magazine. He had just successfully defended the royal palace from a ruthless insurgent raid, and now he stood in the grand, shimmering pavilion of the Xylar Empire. The elite alien commanders and high-ranking lords stood in a wide, silent circle. Their minds were small. They only saw a simple transaction. To them, a human grunt was a tool to be rewarded with standard galactic currency or a minor title. Standing on the high obsidian platform was Queen Vextia. Her towering, armored body was covered in deep, crimson scales that scraped together like rusted metal whenever she moved, and a wet, rhythmic clicking echoed from her mandibles. Her 4 eyes stared out like empty, bottomless pits, radiating an oppressive physical pressure that made the surrounding lords sweat through their heavy silk robes. Behind her stood a lineup of the Empire's most elite, high-born daughters, each matching her terrifying beauty and lethal grace. The Queen looked down at Miller, her voice booming through the stone rafters like thunder. "Choose one. She will be yours," said the Queen, and I pointed directly at her. The entire royal hall went dead cold. The whispering stopped instantly. The high-ranking alien officers backed away from him, as if he had just pulled the pin on a thermal detonator. They expected this human to tremble. They thought he would instantly drop to his knees, apologize profusely for perceived insult, and pick one of the lower-ranking princesses to save his own skin. They thought his human heart would fail under her terrifying gaze. But then, Miller did something that shattered their alien logic completely. He didn't drop his hand. He didn't lower his head. Instead, he unclasped his cracked chest plate, let it drop to the marble floor with a loud metallic clang, and stepped right up to the base of a platform. His shaking hand became, suddenly, perfectly still. He wiped a streak of dark grease from his forehead, took a ragged, burning breath, and looked the Queen straight in her 4 dark eyes. He didn't look at her like an untouchable ruler. He looked at her like a warrior who wasn't afraid to go after exactly what he wanted. He looked up at the towering Queen and said, "Your Majesty, your lords think they can buy my loyalty with an arranged political match, and your guards think those spears mean I should look at the floor. But where I come from, we don't settle for second best, and we don't blink when the fiercest force in the room stands in front of us. Humans don't bow to titles. We fight for the soul. If you're offering me a partner to stand by my side in this galaxy, I don't want a prize. I want the Queen." He stood his ground, his chest heaving, completely ignoring the rows of plasma weapons instantly painting his chest plate with red laser sights. The Queen's mandibles went completely still. Her crimson scales stopped rippling with rage. The air pressure in the room suddenly returned to normal. For 3,000 years, every species she had ever summoned brought tributes, groveling pleas, or absolute terror. No one had ever just stood before the throne with raw, unbroken defiance, looking past the terrifying armor of the monarch to demand her heart. She realized that the universe hadn't sent her another groveling subject. It had sent her an equal. Instead of ordering his execution, the Queen's scales rippled with a sudden, curious warmth, and she let out a genuine, booming laugh that echoed through the stone rafters, shocking her entire royal court. Later, the galaxy learned that Miller's audacious choice didn't seal his doom. It forged a legendary alliance. The Queen didn't punish him. She stepped down from her high platform, dismissed the court lords, and accepted the human grunt as her personal champion and consort, proving that humans don't care how impossible the target is, they just find their footing and stand by the choice they make. The aliens still sit in their high towers, texting, trying to find the strategic logic behind why a supreme galactic ruler would choose a rough human soldier over the greatest houses in the system. But truth is, humans are just built different. The night is getting late. So, what do you think? We humans really are strange, aren't we?